party people, welcome back to another semi-chaotic LEGO City update. We have a lot to talk about regarding the LEGO City and all the changes it's going through, as well as a lot of information about the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from products to content to time, all in one place. More on that later. In our last LEGO City update, a lot of stuff happened. We got rid of Middle Earth, the time had come and I had other plans for that area. We moved the wooden elevation platforms over just a little bit to make room for other fun stuff. We started to lay out a train, and really I was just trying to get prepped for everything new to come in this whole region here of the LEGO City. If you, for whatever reason, haven't checked out that previous video yet, I've linked it up in the cards for you guys. Go watch it. But since the last video, I have come up with a few alternate plans in here. I know I said I was gonna do a giant heart-shaped lake, kind of as an homage to Heart Lake City. I realized since then that I should probably be a little bit more creative than that. And so instead of literally copy and pasting what Heart Lake City would be, I have some better plans now for the shape of the lake that makes more sense for an area called Uptown Ladyburg. Hint hint, it's probably a dog-shaped shape. And in addition to this change of plans in the LEGO City regarding the shape of the lake, we've also had a slight change of plans into what kind of sets and pieces we could include in this area. The LEGO group has been kind enough to absolutely overwhelm us with the brand new LEGO City Wave, LEGO Friends Wave, and LEGO Disney Wave. I've already started building some of these, and I'm not gonna name names, I'm not gonna do it, but there might be a few sets in here that I've been dying to include in the LEGO City. I know I said I was gonna do mostly custom builds, but you can't tell me this isn't the most beautiful set of 2023. So truly, thank you so much LEGO for sending us these sets. It is a huge help to the channel. I've already started building the new sets, and I've actually had these on display for a while. Those are gonna go into the LEGO City eventually, or at least like modifications of these sets. And actually, it is pretty cute. One of these sets came with a little ladybird. You can't tell me that's not her. But then the Rainbow Tower as well. When this was revealed, I gasped. I have no words for this set. It is beautiful, the colors are amazing. There's even pink masonry bricks. They're pink. This piece here is a giant printed piece. I feel like it'll be easier for me to start with a build and then slowly modify as we go, because otherwise I think I'm just gonna get super overwhelmed and I don't want to get burnt out from this. Adding sets and buildings will come a little bit later though. First, we need to work on the landscaping. I mentioned this in my previous LEGO City video too, but one of my absolute favorite LEGO City YouTubers is Brickcrafts. And I've learned a lot from him from watching his videos, but one of the main things is that when you're working on a LEGO City, you want to start with the landscaping first, because obviously that's how it happens in real life, and then you build around it, and that makes it look more realistic. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm starting with the landscaping. The lake is the big centerpiece to Uptown Ladyburg, and I really want to add a big paw print as the lake. I initially started with these smaller plates that kind of had the right shapes, but decided it was too small and everything's bigger in Texas, yeehaw. So I expanded to include some more base plates and got the sizing right, then grabbed some more base plates because it wasn't big enough yet. Next, I'm outlining the paw print with these bricks so that then I have a generalized shape that's easy to move around when I do badly the first time. I grabbed some of these green L-shaped plates and placed them around the bricks to get an actual outline in place. I used the green pieces around the main lake as well as the 4 smaller lakes. I'll fill it in better later. I'm just trying to get generalized placement so far. And I know I just placed all of these bricks here, but now I'm actually removing them and starting to fill in with more of the green. I want to have the lake be a low point in the city, which will actually become a park later, by the way. Like this whole lake area will be a giant park. I'm really excited for it. But yeah, having it be a lower place in the city makes sense because, you know, water flows down. So I'm just making sure that the landscaping all has an upward gradient from here. I also wanted enough room around each of the mini lakes so that I can place minifigures as well as some doggos, so it could be more of a pop-in kind of place to be. Also, there'll be like fishing and stuff like that too, maybe. Next, it was time for the water. I have so many 1x2 trans blue tiles from the pick-a-brick wall. Literally, whenever I see them there, I get more. I don't know what it is. I think I might actually have a problem. I just love those pieces so much. And so I'm just filling in the water with any of those pieces. I also found some trans blue studs so I can start placing duckies or swans or boats or whatever I want to in the water. I don't want it to be empty. Like, it's supposed to be a really popular area in the city. I want a lot of wildlife, I want boats and all that kind of stuff, so I wanted to make sure I planned ahead for that. Oh yeah, I actually forgot that I tried this. I pulled out some of my purple leafy pieces to try to like use that around the lake. I decided against it. Speaking of Brickcrafts earlier, let's go back to Brickcrafts for a second. Something I saw from him that I really loved about how he does water is to add these little green leafy dudes around the edge. I think it makes the edge look more diffused, but also more realistic since there's always a bit of greenery along the water. Like, honestly, I just think it looks nice, so I did it. Like, I just think having them around the edges of of the water looks really good. The next step here is Mills plates. I need to get this looking more Millsified, and so I started taking my green plates, adding 2x2 bricks underneath them to lift them up, and then place them around the lake. These might be moved around later depending on what goes there, but at least for now, I have the general park region started. Adding the Mills plates also made it easier to have the greenery actually going somewhere, like I was building up to something now. And this greenery technique that I use, I just love it. It's perfect for elevation changes and hills where I'm using these L-shaped green plates again to just build upwards. I don't stack them right on top of each other though. I stagger a bit and that produces the best result. Welcome to tomorrow. It's the next day now. I know this looks like it probably didn't take a while, but it did. Time-lapse footage can be very misleading. But anyways, now that we have what will essentially be the centerpiece of Uptown Ladyburg almost kind of finished, I need to move it into the middle a little bit more because this isn't where it's gonna live long term. I want it more centered in this region. There's someone mowing their lawn right now. I am so sorry if you can hear that. Anyways, once that's placed in the middle there, I'm gonna place some base plates around it and then kind of figure out what will be a path. I think it would look really nice to have a path kind of circling around the paw prints to make it look more like a park rather than just some swampy lake. I want it to actually be like an enjoyable part in the Lego city for all the minifigures. So let's just get this kind of placed in the city real quick. You heard nothing. Obviously, there's still a lot more work to do here, but the pond is essentially centered in Uptown Ladyburg, and I think that looks really cool. But now the biggest next step for me is to add Mills plates around the lake, and one of the cool things about Mills here that you can like literally see the best part of it is that you can build down into the city. So like if I were to just build on this base plate, there's nowhere down to go, like you're just right on the table. Whereas with Mills plates, you can actually start at that base plate level, so it looks like you have a little bit more depth. We've experimented with that in the past with like a subway station, and now we have this water feature as well. Something big that I'm trying to debate in my head right now though is what to do about this first elevation change, because I have this whole first story, I guess, of Uptown Ladyburg with the pond. It's gonna look really cute, but then how do I connect the two elevations? And what I'm thinking is to do something maybe kind of similar to the hill work here, where like I just kind of continue my hills and make it really steep leading up from the pond. I think I'll have to just think over that a little bit more before I keep going with it, but if you have any ideas or insight into what to do to connect the elevations, please let me know. But now you guys, this next step is something that I'm kind of excited about, but also a little bit intimidated and nervous about somehow. I'm gonna start adding some buildings in, and the reason that I'm a little bit torn on this is because I want it to be a fully custom Lego city, at least in this region. I'm leaving the modulars. Don't make me get rid of those. Those are staying. I love my modulars. But with Uptown Ladyburg, I don't think that I can start with a fully custom city right away. Like I need to start with some built sets and then slowly, like one by one, start to kind of modularize them differently or customize them or modify them, like whatever it takes to make it into what I would want to see from myself in a fully custom city. And even though I don't have the skills yet to make it like fully custom, I'm gonna do my best with what I have and just kind of slowly work towards that. I just think having all of the skyscrapers against the back here would look really cool, especially against this super boring wall. We bought paint, I promise, it's on the list. We're gonna paint this wall, it's gonna look like a sky. But I just think another big pro with working with the Lego City sets and just all the different smaller scale buildings is that there's a lot more room to work with. The modulars are just so big and bulky and it's really hard to modify them. Whereas like this here or this, like it would be pretty simple. You can shrink it down. You could like make an angled kind of thing if you want to have a cul-de-sac. I don't know, like there's a lot of different opportunities and options here. And also something that I want to do in Uptown Ladyburg that's totally different than what we see in downtown Ladyburg is to have no roads. And instead of having roads, I want to have like cobblestone patterns as pathways and walkways, kind of similar to what we see here. I just love that pattern. I love those tiles and hopefully I can find them on a pab wall eventually. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but like in the last 18 minutes or so, I suddenly developed seasonal allergies. My eyes are all watery, my nose is runny. I went downstairs and took a Dayquil. I'm not sure exactly what Dayquil does, but hopefully it makes me feel better. I just broke the blind. Don't tell Ross. But speaking of Ross, he was actually in here a few minutes ago, kind of helping me out with the paw print lake and kind of what to do moving forward. I know I mentioned it earlier in this video, but something that I do really want to have around the lake is the pathway, and Ross came in earlier to kind of help me brainstorm what that could look like. So this here, don't look at that yet. That's, you know, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to it. What I initially wanted was like a cobblestone kind of pathway, kind of like what you see outside of that rainbow building. I thought that looked really, really cool. But when he came in and we started thinking about it a little bit more, we had this better idea to use the snot technique where essentially you have these snot bricks and they're just placed in there, but then you have the masonry bricks kind of stuck to them. And it makes this nice little cobblestone kind of effect. It kind of reminds me of Wizard of Oz a little bit. It's kind of like a yellow brick road, except it's like tan masonry bricks. And it obviously looks pretty wonky at first, especially like when the holes are there and they're not covered up. But like, I think it looks kind of nice with these like chocolate bar pieces. I'm not sure exactly what they're called. Ross said angler or something. I'm not really sure. But I really like that. I think mixing in the gray with some snot just gives it that extra texture and cobblestone kind of effect that I'm really going for. Because then once the cobblestone pathway is kind of laid out, I can lay the grass over it to make it look a lot more natural and like overgrown, less man-made, because I definitely want it to feel more cobblestone and rustic. Oh yeah, but then there's a bridge, and I want to add the bridge something like that so that then the lake can somewhat feed into this waterfall. I didn't want there to be like a river exactly like connecting it because I didn't think that would look very good and it would ruin the paw print kind of effect. But I think the river there kind of breaks it up to where the paw print is very prominent, and then we can have a little water feature kind of feeding into that waterfall there. I'm not sure how far I'll get in the cobblestone pathway today. I'm hoping to extend it up to the next wooden platform thing over there. But the issue is that at that point, I'm not really sure what it'll do, whether it'll just like follow along like the bottom part of the platform or if it'll go upstairs perhaps. And then the same issue on the bottom, I'll have to like elevate it to bring it over this bridge because this bridge will be elevated by at least a little bit. And I'm not sure how to actually make that elevation happen yet. So stay tuned. There's a lot of weird decisions to come. Speaking of weird decisions, my husband came in and worked on the city for a bit tonight because I was feeling sniffly still, and I'm not sure what his plans are for downtown, but he just put a bunch of sets here, lined them up kind of cute, and then left them there. So if you have any ideas as to what to do with these, please let me know. I might just remove them later. Then he helped me out with the pathway and the bridge. He's a much better mock builder than me for now. I'm hoping to get better, but he somehow whipped up the coolest looking bridge in just about an hour. We have a ton of pick-a-brick pieces and he used a bunch of them here, so you might actually recognize a lot of them. He put them to good use. It's looking really good. It's a suspension style bridge using that same masonry brick kind of pathway technique that we were using earlier in tan, except this time he's using it as the pathway along the bridge. When thinking through how to make the tan pathway elevated for going over the bridge, my dummy brain was short-circuiting, but his revolutionary idea of stairs was actually pretty cool. I didn't think about that. I hadn't considered it. But really, I'm just shocked at how good this is looking so far. Like truly, the bridge elevates this area so much. And then for the rest of the yellow brick road style cobble path, he continued it on the other side of the bridge, extending the greenery on top of it along the edges so it looks more cohesive. The path also splits into two. One will lead to the lookout point we built in the natural area on the first level of the Lego City, and the other direction leads to the botanical gardens that we are planning to place here. I want this to be like Central Park, or rather Central Bark, because, you know, dogs, Ladybird, it's a paw print, it's kind of funny. So I'm overall really happy with where this is at so far. It looks better than I would have ever hoped, especially when starting out this video. I didn't think we would get this far in the build, and definitely didn't think it would actually look this decent. Alright, I said it a few videos ago, but I'll say it again. This is the year that I've stopped being bad at the Lego City. I can't believe how good this is looking. I love this technique. It turned out really good, and I'm excited to see what it looks like with the greenery on the other side of the path as well. And then the lake too. It turned out so much better than I would have ever expected. And the bridge. I told you guys that Ross did a good job on it. Like, I can't believe he made this. It's wild that he did this in like an hour. That does not compute in my brain. And we also had a lot of fun already placing a bunch of minifigures in here. Something I figured I would point out to you is this dog. It's not canon yet, and I don't know if it ever will be, but that could be Ladybird. You know, I feel like that would be really cute to have Ladybird just hanging out by Ladybird Lake in Uptown Ladyburg. Looking over to this side, you can get a better feel for what I was talking about regarding this pathway. The path splits in two to have a fork in the road. Some would call that a dingle hopper. And this side of the path here will eventually lead to the overlook that's already kind of established in the lower part of the Lego City. And I just wanted it to be more cohesive between Uptown Ladyburg and the rest of the Lego City that currently exists. And then the other side of the path, you can see that we've also had some fun placing some minifigures. Like seriously, what would the city be without Scooby? Like obviously we needed to have that there, as well as some vendors. But then probably my favorite part, well maybe not my favorite, but I do like it a lot, is the botanical gardens. They are just beautiful. There's so many fun colors and lots of unique part usage. For now, I'm gonna leave it as is. I do want to eventually buy a second one and then maybe make it more of like a modularized style building. I'd say for the first city update video, we got a lot more done than I ever even expected to. I was honestly just hoping to get part of the lake finished, and then we came up with a really fun idea for a path. Ross is working on a bridge. Now we have some minifigures, the botanical gardens, and now we have like a central park, central park, but dogs kind of thing going on. And it looks so good. Like, I'm really motivated to keep going on this. Like, truly, this has been just so much fun. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas on how to integrate the bottom part with the other two elevation levels, because I'm not really exactly sure what to do there, but I want it to look really cool. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and are maybe as excited about the Lego City as I am. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. I'm obviously a fan of color, and I had so much fun creating the perfect, colorful brand presence for myself through a website. You're able to stand out online as well with a beautiful website with just a few clicks. Building my website with Squarespace was the best option for me because it was easy, but also there's so many extra features that Squarespace offers. Whether you sell physical, digital, or service products, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. Purchasing a domain from Squarespace is also so easy. Plus, there's no hidden fees or price hikes. I created my website and bought my domain from Squarespace, and it was totally doable. Like, I'm technologically challenged, so if I'm able to do it, you can too. Squarespace has so many options to view your analytics. You're able to see how many people are coming to your website as well as what they're most interested in. Also, for all of you lovely artists in the Lego world, you might also love taking advantage of their portfolios and galleries. Make sure to head over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Emmasaurus to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.